Carol Mannarino?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Members of the committee, my name is Carol Mannarino. I live in Wilton, New Hampshire, and I have a letter I wrote. Nearly 250 years ago, 3 New Hampshire regiments under the command of Brigadier General Enoch Poor spent a brutal winter at Valley Forge. The soldiers were half starved, many half naked and barefoot. Although no battle was fought, thousands died. An enemy commander, dismayed by the Patriots' undiminished resolve, said that in spite of the harsh conditions, no real mutiny occurred. The army was kept from disintegrating by the spirit of liberty. They did not fight for revenge or the comfort of luxury. They fought for liberty. The spirit of liberty which united them was later embodied in the text of the constitutions of both the United States and the state of New Hampshire. We are now in the midst of a great moral conflict. Our democracy, our Constitution, is in great peril. The system of checks and balances built into the Constitution to preserve liberty has been seriously undermined. The administration of George Bush and Richard Cheney has claimed for itself the power to order states to relinquish control of public elections to private businesses, to restrict freedom of assembly and speech, to search and seize private communications of innocent citizens without warrants, to deprive citizens of liberty indefinitely without trial, to subject citizens to cruel and unusual punishment in violation of the Constitution and international treaties. By issuing signing statements, Mr. Bush has declared his unwillingness to faithfully execute the laws of the land. The New Hampshire Constitution provides a mechanism to correct this situation, and it is both the right and duty of citizens to institute impeachment proceedings against Mrs. Bush and Cheney. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous.
That's all right.
The soldiers at Valley Forge taught us that democracy is not a spectator sport. Liberty is worth fighting for. Its price is constant vigilance. As members in the New Hampshire legislature, you took an oath to support the Constitution, the embodiment of the spirit of liberty that the soldiers fought for. You cannot remain neutral in the midst of this conflict and still uphold your oath. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and repression is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good of all mankind. I urge you to recommend passage of House Resolution number 24. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You made a comment that restricts citizens without trials. Are you talking the American citizen that was on the battlefield that tried to kill our Americans? Or who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Bush's claimed right to designate anyone, any person, not just any non-citizen or any alien. He said any person, an enemy combatant, and thereby remove all rights, say that he is not subject to the Bill of Rights. He has said that.
Okay, follow on.
That's probably the question is you're looking at the guy Padilla.
Right.
When what happened, that's one of the few that went to the Supreme Court. The
Right.
Supreme Court made that decision, so then
yes.
he was then the Supreme Court said no, he was afforded a trial, and he was convicted down, I think, in Miami, but now it's serving like a 20-year sentence.
And the reason why I was going into that because she brought up on the Civil War, and if we talked about before in 1861, there was a suspension, during the Civil War and habeas corpus back then. With Abraham Lincoln, and that's why I'm looking at what we're doing today under the Military Commissions Act of 2006 is no different, I believe, than we did back then.
But the problem with the habeas corpus what Abraham Lincoln used was later determined to be unconstitutional in there, and so, okay, thank you. Okay. The next, this is the 12th person from New Hampshire that had the opportunity. There's only been 4 from out of state, but they've been long-winded.
I know. That's why.
Nan Stearns. That's why we're extending this a little bit longer to get more people in. Because the purpose of the resolution is to express the intent of the New Hampshire House.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I'm especially happy to see each of you in person because I've had a wonderful opportunity to speak to a number of them. And every one of you has said to me, we'll listen. I've had a wonderful conversation actually with three ladies, a long conversation where we've had a chance to exchange our thoughts. Not necessarily people who are like-minded with me, but people who are willing to listen. I considered it discussion rather than argument. I live in Amherst, New Hampshire, and as a result of my concern about what's going on in our country, I started an organization called WMD, Women Making a Difference. And what I hoped I could do today was to ask those members who are here today to stand so that you could see the representation we have. I understand that's not allowed, so of course I wouldn't even consider it. There are so many organizations here today, and for me it's been a thrill to see the faces here. There are people from New Hampshire Coalition of Peace, Veterans for Peace, 9/11 Truth, WMD, Women Making a Difference, a group urging environmental awareness. The wonderful thing that this president and his vice president have done is to bring us together. I thank George Bush because I would have had the courage to stand up and speak out were it not for the fact that I think what's going on in our country is dead wrong. My husband served for 30 years in the U.S. military. He was a member of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We served in Italy, Germany, Taiwan, Alaska, Hawaii. We had absolutely wonderful, wonderful assignments. One of the most memorable moments in my life was when we took the troop train from Frankfurt, Germany to Berlin. On that train were two other couples besides ourselves, my husband and me. One of the women with us, and I won't say her name because who knows, someone here may know her. She grew up in Dachau in Germany. And she said to me, after we had a wonderful discussion about Nazi Germany and what can happen in a country, she said to me, we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on in our country. I've been to Dachau. It's not a big town. I don't know how you could not know what was going on there. We know, each one of you know in your hearts what this administration is doing to our beloved, beloved country. The war is wrong. Torture is wrong. I can't really think of anything that the Bush administration has done that is right, except bring those of us who are here today together. I noticed that you ran out of people for the other side very quickly. I also noticed that they left the room as soon as they had had an opportunity to speak. Many of the people who are here on my side have also had to leave because of the time. So I thank you for the opportunity to stand up and speak out, which I think every citizen has the right, the responsibility, and more important, the obligation to do. Thank you.
Thank you.